Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. This is going to be a tip and trick video about how to put a timing pointer on a car so you can set the timing. And the story is, working on a 71 Comet GT. Just put an engine in for my brother, and the water pump that came with the engine had the inlet over on the passenger side. We needed the inlet on the driver's side. So we switched the water pump, did that. But now the water pump hose blocks the timing pointer. So there's no way to time it. What I did do is take one of these little camera things that you stick into a cell phone. And this one happens to have two cameras on it. One facing forward and another one that faces off to the side. And I was able to stick this camera thing in there and see where the timing is pointed, the timing pointer's pointed at right now. It was incredibly difficult to get this camera in there and hold it steady enough to see where the pointer was now. Because typically you would do it at 0. You'd get the piston at top dead center and then get your pointer set and then start from the 0 mark. Well, I couldn't do that. It was just too dang difficult to even see the pointer now where it is. Once I was able to get the camera in there and see that it's currently, rotor's pointed to number 1. And the timing that it happened to be on when the engine stopped is 42. So that's why I'm using 42, because that's where it is, and it was just too hard for me to get in there with the camera to even find out where it is. So I needed a starting point. I have a starting point, so now I have to make a tape with the correct gradations on it. A lot of time when I'm doing things like this, I make the part out of like cardboard. This is a file folder, but it's about 1 inch wide, 4 inches long. I put a bend in it 90 degrees, cut the corner off. And then you make this out of sheet metal. And I just glued it on to the engine, and it gives you a nice edge to use for your timing pointer. Very simple. We're under the engine now, under the car, and this bracket right here is just a piece of metal that I bent and cut on an angle. And I put some duct tape on there and RTV and glued it onto the oil pan. And it's pointing to the harmonic balancer. Just at some random spot right now. But I put a little white dot on the harmonic balancer where it's pointing. And then when I stuck my camera up in there, I see that it's currently sitting at 42 degrees timing. So that little white dot that I put on there is going to represent 42 degrees. I'm going to rotate the balancer so I can get to the timing marks that are marked on it, and then make a tape and duplicate those lines over here, or I can scratch them or paint them or punch them or do something to indicate where they are. Alright, I'm going to turn the engine with the starter switch here so I can see some timing marks. There's not a lot of room to work under here. Those are the timing marks on the balancer. And I'm going to duplicate those marks onto a piece of tape and then move it over to where white dot is and mark it. Then I'll be able to use a timing light underneath the car here to time the engine. I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see. I have the camera laying on the floor, pointing up. I'm going to take a piece of masking tape, put it on there. Okay. So I know this is 0. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, and I'm calling that 42. So I'm going to write that down here. 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. And I'm going to put some like 12, 14, 16, 18 marks in there too. And we will put an 8, a 6, and a 4, and a 2. All right, so I can take that tape, peel it off, and put the 42 mark on my white dot, and then I'll have some timing. And I could transfer those marks to this balancer. Now I have to try to get the engine back to where I can get to that white mark. It was by the part number of the balancer. That's it right there. So I gotta line that 42 up on that. There. See, right now I'd be able to time the car just like it is. Tape won't stay on long, but I would be able to see it. Now, of course, I have a black marker here and a black. That's not going to show up. So let me get my white one. If somebody is using a dial-back timing light, all they would need is the 0 mark. I don't have a dial-back. I'm just going to do the majors. And the 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm going to put a dot like about where 35 would be. Because that's kind of what I'm shooting for on full advance, total advance. And I really don't care where it idles at. So now I take, and I could, well, take a punch and punch some dents in there. I think those white marks are going to be just fine for what I'm doing. I'm going to grab the timing light and see if it works. Got the timing light out, hooked it up, checked it, crawled under there, works just fine. If you are going to make your own timing pointer, I suggest you get your number 1 at top dead center. There's various ways to do it, but if you start out top dead center on 0, then when you put your pointer down there at some random spot, you can just mark it, and that would be good if you have a dial back timing light. You'd be done. But I don't have dial back timing light. That's why I made that tape with the degrees on it. Stuck that in there, and paint marks are going to last for decades. So thank you for watching Dan's Messy Garage. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you are able to implement it in your own car. Bye.